This is a story about how I went from being nearly homeless, a single mom, to owning my own wellness business all within the span of around 2 years. So to start off, I traveled the country a lot from 18 till about 20. So I was a solo traveler. I worked in Wyoming, I worked in Montana. I road tripped from Georgia with my very best friend. And so that was around COVID, so we're talking like 2019 to 2021. I traveled and did that, and it got me really far. I thought that was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So what I would do is work like the summer season somewhere, and then I would come home for the winter months and work a job at my parents' house, save up money, be able to travel for 3 or 4 months in between when the summer seasonal job time started. So in 2021, it was the end of 2021, I had kind of reached like a really rough place. So I was going to be home a little longer than I thought. So I ended up getting a longer term job. I started working at Home Depot. When I was at Home Depot, I ended up meeting a guy. So I ended up meeting a guy, and let me set the stage, right? Okay. I, at this point in time, am 20 years old. I'm not even 21. I had just turned 20. It's December. I had just turned 20 and September of that year. This man that I met was 35, already screaming terrible things. My dad's a great guy. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. He is really, he comes across as this very nice guy. He's very caring. Maybe life has just handed him a bad hand. And at 20, you believe those things. Some people do. If you're dumb like me, you believe those things. I really took him at his word for what he kind of said he was and what he was doing, and that, this was only like a temporary situation. Him and I started going out. He was a nice guy. He treated me really well. He, was like this big, cuddly teddy bear of a dude, very chill, very laid back. And I was just in a place where I wanted someone that was nice. I had just gotten out of a relationship during my last seasonal job that kind of was with a guy that wasn't super nice. He cheated on me like as soon as I had flown home, like literally 2 days later. My friend messaged me and was like, hey, he's like with another girl. So anyway, that was what I was coming from. So I was kind of just looking for somebody that was like gonna be nice. And he was, when I say obsessed with me, and I think it was like kind of mutual, like it was that kind of like really electric, like, oh, he's so nice. Anyway, we started dating for a couple months. 4 months after we started dating, I moved in. Yeah. Not smart. Anyway, so I move in with him 2 months after that. My whole life kind of shifted. I found out that I was pregnant with my daughter. So 35, 20-year-old, both working at Home Depot. One car between the two of us because I've left out an important and very embarrassing detail, that he is a career alcoholic with 3 DUIs and no driver's license. Okay. So with that, him and I are together. I tell him I'm really not sure if this is the direction I want to go. At that point in time, we had both been planning on going and taking a seasonal job elsewhere. Like, I was ready. Like, this was my MO. Like, we were together, we were doing fun stuff. The winter was over now. Now it's time to move and do a new summer job. At this point, 6 months into the relationship, already was seeing the writing on the wall that things were not great. Like, he was starting to hide things from me, alcohol. He was like buying, there's like a whole subculture of people, like grown adults, that buy Pokemon cards. He was a part of that. He would buy them and hide them because he knew I'd get pissed off because we had no money. Here we are, you don't even have a car. You have all of these license fees you have to pay back if you want to get your license to even get a car. We have no money, like no money at all. I had to stop working because I got hyperemesis gravidium, where I was puking constantly. I couldn't eat, like I almost had to be hospitalized. So I was quite sick during this time. So my pregnancy was turbulent. It was 9 months of just terrible time. And I didn't know what to do. I was so young. I turned 21 while I was pregnant. And then I was 21 with a baby, with a spouse. We were engaged at that point, but we were not married. And I didn't know what to do because as soon as I had her, like weeks after that, knew that being with him was a terrible, terrible mistake. And at that point, what do you do, right? I'm not working. He's the only one that's bringing in any money. The only thing I have is my car. What I think was really important to me at that point was like just raising her and being the best mom that I could be. And so I really, for the first year of her life, things were okay. Like, she was my priority, number one. So she was 4 months old when I decided, like, I had to go back into the job market, and I was like looking because we needed more money if we were going to be able to move out and go do our own thing. I've left out an important detail that I would like to add in at this point in time, which was that we did not own our own apartment. We didn't rent our own apartment. He lived in what was a converted apartment below his grandmother that in exchange for helping her and taking care of her, he lived in. And that was what I moved into. It was a 1-bedroom, very small, 1-bedroom, with basically just like a bathroom with a utility sink, utility shower, and a washer and dryer. And that detail is important and will come into play in a few moments. But at 4 months, I was 4 months postpartum when I kind of decided, like, I need to go back to school, because I had dicked around with school. I spent 3 semesters trying to become an addiction counselor. I realized that that really was not the path I wanted to go, and then hence like the traveling and going around and trying to like do my own thing. So I fit a lot of stuff into that time between like 17 and 20. So I'm looking for school online at this point in time. I'm like, if I can do something online, that would be great. I could stay home with her and still do school, because we didn't have enough money to put her in daycare. Even if I had gotten a minimum wage job, the only thing it would cover was daycare. So I was looking for online schools. And then I was looking for evening programs, because my ex worked during the day and I worked in the evening. And I was like, you know what? I can do this evening job and I can take care of her during the day, and then he can watch her for a couple hours while I'm at school. I finally found a college that was close to us, about 10 minutes away, that offered evening classes, and the only program that really struck my interest was massage therapy. That was nothing that I had ever been interested in before. I had no intentions of becoming a massage therapist up until the moment that I found that program. And it really, massage therapy school, when I say it changed my life, like really, really mean that it changed my life. The people I met, the things that I did, the path that it put me on was so incredibly special to me, and to this day remains special to me. I met so many people that were so kind and so caring, and people that just were in this field to help other people, and on a mental level, on a spiritual level, on a medical level. And it really took me into a new direction and gave me like this kind of secondary purpose, because anybody that's had a baby knows that postpartum, you are just like the mom machine for months. And I'm like, I have no purpose. So I get through about a year of school, and my ex needs an ankle surgery, which meant that he had to stop working. And at this point, it's important to know that things were going very badly. Things that summer, last summer that we were together, we're now in 2024. That last summer that we were together, my daughter is now a year and a half old. I had been in school for a little over a year at that point, and he needed to be done with work or take months off. So, and at that point, disability was only going to pay for about 2/3 of his income, which was already, mind you, like $700 a week. So we had a family of 3 plus 2 dogs living on $700 a week. So you can imagine how far that goes. And I'm like, okay, I need to stop school and go to work, at least for this time. So I put in for a leave of absence for school, which was devastating for me. Like, I loved school so much. I felt like I had found my purpose. I stopped school in August of 2024. And so I drop out. I take a leave of absence, which is basically dropping out. And I'm devastated. My friends are still going on and doing all the stuff that we talked about doing together and finishing school, and I felt so isolated again. And I didn't, like, he got his ankle surgery and he sat on the couch for 3 months. He didn't help me with my daughter. He was exhausted all the time. He didn't feel good. He was needy. He was rude, and he was starting to be really mean towards me. A lot of things that had transpired before that, the lying, the hiding things, the like addiction stuff with alcohol really was leading up to that final. It was like September. I had decided that I had had enough. Him and I had been together for nearly 3 years. My daughter was a year and a half at that point, a little over a year and a half. And I'd had enough. And I got a job because we needed a job. So I worked as a resident assistant in a nursing home, which if any of you know anything about working as resident assistant in nursing homes means that I was cleaning up piss and shit and giving showers to people who wanted to punch me in my face. And I loved being able to help the people and help the residents and really give them that like compassion. But it was a terrible job. Like, I hated it. It wasn't what I wanted to be doing. It paid decently, like $18 an hour, which was why I took it. And I could do evenings, and it really just sucked. And the plan was, after the 3 months, he would go back to work. I had already decided that I didn't want to be with him anymore. I just was kind of going through the motions because I had nowhere to go. September has passed. Now we're in October of 2024. His grandmother decides that she no longer wanted us living there. We had already discussed moving out. It wasn't like she was like trying to put us out, but she said that her daughter could move in after we had gone. And we had kind of like, we all of a sudden were like, we didn't want to make the move. We didn't have enough money at that point in time. And it was her house. We didn't have a written lease. So we were about to be on our ass. And I like, in that time had discussed with him, like, I don't know what to do. We're going to be homeless. Like, we are going to have nowhere to go as of December. We had to be out of there by December. Mind you, I had maybe $1,000 to my name, didn't have enough money to put a deposit anywhere. All of the money I was making was going to pay credit card bills, was going to pay for stuff for my daughter, diapers, food, clothes, stuff for her, stuff for the dogs, food for us. Like, I had no money left over. And then he just kept spending and spending and spending and spending on all of his things that he liked to spend money on. And I just like hit rock bottom. November of 2024, I really hit rock bottom so hard that I didn't know that I wanted to be alive anymore. I didn't know if I wanted to do any of this anymore. I wasn't doing school. I felt like my purpose in that sense was gone. I felt like I was so mentally like depressed, and that I also felt like I was a horrible example for my daughter. I was the heaviest weight that I had ever been in my life, and I really like, I cried every day. I had gotten such bad OCD and really bad like agoraphobia. Like, I couldn't go out in public anymore. Like, I was just like decompensating. Like, my world was crumbling. We were about to be homeless with 2 dogs and a baby, and I didn't know what to do. And I talked to my mom, and because coming back here had not been an option, so I wasn't even counting it as an option. So I talked to my mom, because there's only 1 available bedroom in here, mind you. And there would be 4, including the dogs. So me and Charlie, and my daughter, and then my 2 dogs, which are big dogs. This is not like a small undertaking for somebody. And I didn't know what to do. So I called my mom one day and just broke down and was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I have nothing else that I like can do. And she like, just, I think you need to come home. And I was like, come home? Like, there's nowhere for me to go. What do you mean come home? There's no room. Like, we have a 2-story house. My brother and sister both live here. Both of my parents live here. They have a large dog. Like, where would you like us to go? There's nowhere to be in this house. And so that was a lot. And then they had offered to let Steve come, right? Because my ex and I were still together at that point in time. Nope, one. My ex and I were still together at that point in time. And I knew that I was going to leave. And so at that point I started, he was doing all of these sneaky things behind my back. He wasn't like cheating, but he was lying and buying things that he said that he wasn't. And I started buying things on Amazon, getting them shipped here. My parents were putting them in a corner of the house. I would come over here after work start putting together beds and cribs and clothes and bath stuff, because she's still small. She's not even 2 at this point. She's walking around, but she's still a baby. And I, the day after Christmas, because I wanted us to have a good Christmas, it was December 26th. I told him I was leaving. I told him I was going, that I would not be coming back, and that we were done. And he took it really hard. And I just told him, I was like, listen, you haven't gotten it together. He could have gone back to work in November. He didn't want to. He stayed out on disability for another 3 months. So it was December. We had no money, and we were about to be out on our ass. She said, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. You guys have to go. And we didn't have a lease. We didn't have anything like that, and we had nowhere else to go. So we were pretty much looking at going into a homeless shelter at that point. I was looking into going into like a specific women's shelter at that point in time. And I just, like, I had nothing. And my parents really granted me this opportunity of come back here for free. You can live downstairs. Charlie can share a bedroom, and go back and finish school. Like, that is what you love doing. You're so good at it. You love people. This was your dream. Like, you started creating like business plans, like go back and do what you were going to do. And I'm so grateful to this day that I had that conversation with them, because I was not going to ask to come back here, because that's a lot. Taking in me, just if it was just me, would be a lot. Taking in me with 2 dogs, taking in me with a baby, a 2-year-old, moving a 2-year-old into their house, who they love, I mean, is their granddaughter. But I felt like a huge burden coming back here, and I still struggle with that feeling sometimes, even though I know that they like us being here. And then, you know, I didn't know what to do. We came back here, and I went back to school almost immediately. We moved back in December 26th. I moved in, and then I think I went back and got Charlie 2 days later, after I had set up all her stuff, and took 1 dog with me at that point. So I go back to school January 17th, and I went to school for a whole year and finished it up. I was delayed graduation. I wasn't with any of my friends anymore that I had started with, but I was determined to finish it because it was something that I really, really loved. So in between all of that, it's now 2025. That summer, the house that we had lived in, that all of my stuff was in, that I had brought, thank God, with me, we lost everything. She came back from her dad's house. I went to pick her up. The entire house burnt down in about 20 minutes because my ex had put a cigarette butt into a lawn waistband that was outside the house, like touching the house. She had just left there 20 minutes ago. The whole house was decimated. They ended up having to take money for it. It was a whole thing. Nobody lives there now. I actually think they just sold like the shell of the house because it was so badly burned. But yeah, it was crazy. And so I still am going to school, and then I ended up with Laddie. So I ended up with our second dog because his house had burned down. So I ended up taking Laddie back in. So then I had the 2 dogs and her here by myself. I was doing DoorDash on the weekends, or basically on the Saturday that he had her, because he only had her 1 day a week. So I would go and do DoorDash and then go to school 4 to 5 days a week. And it was a lot, but I did it. And I graduated with like high honors in March of 2026. And since then, right? So here we are now to the business, okay? I graduate March of 2026 as a massage therapist. I take my licensing exam. I pass on the first try. In April, I am finally able to start working. I start doing interviews for massage therapy places that were around us, and they want to pay you garbage. I did a couple different interviews. One was for a place that paid like $18. Another place was for a place that paid $20 an hour. This is the pay that I would have taken without a license, without any education at all. I couldn't see myself working that hard and making that much money. So I decided to try and go to business for myself. So that led to me creating Dynamic Life Wellness, which is my business right now. I created, it's a DBA, so it's like a sole proprietorship. It's just me. The tax structure is that of a sole proprietorship. So I'm like a 1099 employee technically for myself. I opened it up and then I was like, fuck, I need an office. So I looked around for places and it was so expensive and I'm like, I can't do it. And at this point in time, mind you, okay, in April, I am $20,000 in debt between credit card debt, student loan debt, personal loans. I am $20,000 in debt. So my credit's not great. I really haven't been working and contained steady employment at this point for over a year because I had to focus on school and then I had my daughter during the day. I had no one to watch her. I couldn't afford to put her in daycare. So I started the business and then I finally found a place that was a tattoo shop. So with no massage experience outside of the clinic that we did in school, I opened up a massage therapy business. I create like a lymphatic service. I have a like an ASMR kind of service that I do. I have a reproductive health massage. I have an energetic release massage. So also I do Reiki with my business. I also do just regular like therapeutic massage. I work with a lot of people that have like chronic pain. Yeah, so a lot of stuff happened. And actually, like the week I was supposed to start work, my appendix exploded. So I had to put off work for like another like 2 or 3 weeks, which sucked. But the woman I rent from, who's like kind of my boss, at a tattoo shop, I started renting at a tattoo place, a room that they had that was for an esthetician. She works 3 days out of the week. I work 3 days out of the week in the room, so we switch on and off. And Dynamic Life Wellness is started. So where do we go from here? We go a lot of places, hopefully. My goal for my business within the next year, I would like to buy land out near me. I don't think I said it yet, but I live in upstate New York. And I would love to start a nature-based wellness center. I'm hoping to start, getting that together by next year once my credit is better, my debt is paid down more. The nitty-gritty business stuff. Right now, I make anywhere from between like $1,400 and $2,000 a week, working 3 days a week, which is nice. So I work 3 days a week and I make that much money. And I also have been getting into more like doing like some content creation type stuff to try and supplement my income so that my daughter and I can get her own house. And move out and start doing the wellness stuff. I am super interested in homesteading. I have a giant garden, which I will insert some clips in. I do a ton of gardening. I've raised animals. I obviously love dogs. I've kind of looked into doing like heritage breeding of Pyrenean Mastiffs or Pyrenean Mastiffs because they are like kind of an endangered breed for livestock guardianship. And I want to farm sheep and I have this like huge vision and like I so easily spit myself right into the massage scene and I have a ton of plans. So if you want to follow up with me and follow along on this journey, I encourage you to subscribe. And yeah, I hope that this was interesting, and if you want to see more from me, let me know.